Michael, if you can't grind out a win, you grind out a result. It was a tough game on Saturday, but now a completely different game. You must be looking forward to Wycombe for the different tactical reasons tomorrow.
Yeah, I think there will be similarities in the game. We expect, a physical challenge. We looked at Wycombe's games and, they've made life difficult for the opposition in the games they've played, particularly at home. We'll have to defend, I think, a lot of balls get into our box, and they're a team that likes to try and press the opposition as well. Different proposition, I think. Really, Sheffield Wednesday, tough game, but they sat deeper, and I didn't think it was a game that we were ever looked in danger of losing. Unfortunately, we just couldn't create enough opportunities with the possession that we had to win the game, and I felt it was always going to be a game that we probably going to be won by the first goal if we could have got it. But tomorrow night it's a different type of game. I think you always face that with a promoted team, and realistically they probably Rotherham is maybe more of a benchmark of what we will face, I think, tomorrow night.
Having had such a difficult game and had one or two people come off, Lee Gregory obviously was clattered. How are we on the injury front? Is there an update?
Well, Lee won't be available for tomorrow night. John came off. We'll assess him today. We're training later today, but he has a doubt, an extreme doubt, and none of the other injured players are able to return at this minute in time. So we're still without, obviously, both goalkeepers. We're still without Joe longer term. We're without Jordan Thompson, Stephen Fletcher. I think my board's got magnets on it here, but I think that's it. Yeah, we're down a few bodies. There's no doubt about that. But so it'll give the opportunities for some others to come in.
Well, as you say, it gives people opportunities. But you must have been pleased with how the likes of Nathan Collins played and Morgan Fox and James Chester. So you shouldn't really have too many worries about those players staying in and showing how good they are.
No, that's right. I thought Nathan did very well coming in at right back. I think that's a position that he can really develop, because I think if he can continue to improve playing in that position, then I think that will help him down the line when he's a centre back as well. I think that'll help his development. He's played very well for us in the right side of a back three, and I thought he defended well. I thought he joined in the game well as well, so I was pleased for him coming in. And Chesney, I thought, had a very assured game, very strong, and Morgan as well did very well defensively as well. So we were pleased. Defensive aspect of the team on Saturday, good for young Joe to keep a clean sheet as well. And as I say, we need to replicate that, but obviously show a little bit more at the top end of the pitch.
You've talked about people being flat and the mental side being more difficult, particularly when you're playing away from home. You'll have to look at a rare thing tomorrow. 1,000 fans will be in the game. Do you think that will cause anybody to have a lift, certainly from Stoke side?
Well, I think fans in the ground is a positive. I know a lot's been made of whether you're allowed fans, and some clubs being allowed fans and other clubs not being allowed fans. But for me, I think it's a positive step. I think you've got to be mind what I was talking about was essentially, players are being asked to play every 3 days. The preparation time is very limited. You're pretty much, playing a game, recovering, minimal preparation, play again, and you're consistently doing it in empty stadiums, staying in empty hotels. It's all a little bit of a surreal experience, which has obviously gone on longer than we anticipated when we first come into this scenario. If you look at us now, we've played basically between last season and the games this season, we've played more than half a season in this type of environment. And I think that's mentally challenging for the players. It's not an excuse, but I think, you have to lift yourself. And I think some supporters in the ground, whether they're for or against you, will be a positive.
You talk about people being flat mentally, but when you're a younger player, you don't have the same composure as some of the senior players. So if somebody like John Obi Mikel doesn't play, he can still play a major role in the dressing room, can't he?
Yeah, look, we've got good, one of the things that we've focused on here is making sure that the senior pros are around the team as much as possible, and that's been a challenge. I felt last year that was a challenge with obviously Ryan being absent, but Ryan was always good when in the dressing room. Joe then was a big part of that, Joe getting injured. So I think the likes of James Chester, John Obi Mikel, Stephen Fletcher, they've added to that. I think they've strengthened the types of characters that we have in the dressing room, and that's very, very important. And but equally, we need players just to be ready to deal with the situation, to deal with the game. And I have no doubts that the younger players, the Collinses, the Campbells, the Browns, this is where we need to see that they can handle a situation. And I don't have any doubts that they're capable of doing that. That is the nature of the Championship, even under normal circumstances. Like, you've a lot of midweek games, you've got to grind your way through games at times. And if you're an attacking player or a technical player, you have to be able to produce those moments that can win the game. And as I say, hopefully we'll find those moments tomorrow night.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ange. George now, please, if you can unmute, George.
I'm sorry, couldn't get more than that, but an added game again, isn't it?
Sorry, I didn't catch the first part of that, George.
Another added game, of course, with the FA Cup coming up, and you got a home tie. You couldn't ask no more than that, Leicester City, but it's another added game, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. But look, it's a game we knew we would have to play, So I think it's a good game for us, to be honest. I think a home tie is a bonus against a very good side. Obviously, I know Brendan well, so it'll be a good game for us. But I think our focus is well away from that minute in time. I think we've probably got about 10 games between now and then to deal with. So that's where our focus will lie. But what the cup games do is they give you a little bit of a break from the league scenario and chasing points and chasing league positions. And certainly the Carabao Cup has been a positive for us this season, because it enabled us to integrate some younger players at the start of the season. Those younger players have gone on then to establish themselves and play a part in the league games as well. So if the FA Cup affords us the same type of scenario, then it'll be a good competition for us.
You've got to put that on the back burner, as you say, Michael, and going to the game tomorrow night, really, and that's the priority, and always will be the league, against a side that first time in the history in the highest echelon, and it's took them some time to possibly not quite adjusted yet. They didn't have the best of starts, but they seem to be picking up 1 or 2 points here and there. And as you've already said, it will be a different ball game, won't it, against a side that really possibly go route one.
Well, yeah, look, I think they've lost one in their last 6, possibly. I think they've had some draws, they've adapted to the league. It's always a step up when you promote it, and they're obviously not a club that are in a position to invest hugely in their team. And obviously the current climate makes it very difficult for anyone to invest in their team substantially. So, look, I think they've done extremely well. They've provided tough opposition. You look at Brentford, found it tough down there. Huddersfield found it tough. So, like any of these games, we expect a difficult game. Yes, the ball will be direct at times. We have to deal with that. They're not the only team in this division that will play like that, so we can't. It won't be a totally new experience from that point of view. They've got obviously the likes of Akinfenwa. They've got Pizu. They like to play with a big striker if they can. And what we'll have to be is we'll have to match their appetite and enthusiasm for the game. Simple as that. If we don't do that, then it'll be a difficult night for us.
And you go to the game, you said, and it's obviously the league is always going to be the priority, but it's a close proximity stadium. I mean, Adam Park, and they get the fans coming in. You already alluded to that in many, many ways. Having not played with fans, is it going to be a different situation with fans coming back? Because it was the norm for so many games so far, Michael, in that spell where we didn't have fans in, which was 9 months plus.
No, I think the players will welcome it, to be honest. As I said, I think the fact that it's a tight stadium will benefit. There'll obviously 1,000 fans and will make a difference in a stadium of this size and a stadium of this nature, as opposed to, for example, 1,000 fans at Hillsborough on Saturday would be lost. I thought the game was a little bit airy on Saturday. I think sometimes you get that in the older stadiums as well. But certainly, I'm not against the fact that fans are there tomorrow. I'm sure that the supporters will make a a great noise and back their team. It's the first time they'll have the chance to see their own team in the championship. So that's a big occasion for them, and we've got to be ready to deal with that. And the players, you know, that's part of being a footballer, dealing with performing in front of the crowd, whether it's at home or away. And so we want to see that side of the character of the players to be able to deal with that. You know, we don't want to be benchmarking ourselves constantly playing in an empty stadium. So for me personally, I'm glad that supporters are back.
Finally, from me, Ryan came through 70 minutes. He's obviously picking up the pace as you want him, and that's a big factor for you as we approach the run of all the games we're going to be getting, as we are at this moment in time, isn't it, Michael?
Yeah, I think, you know, we want our players back. We've had a bit of an injury stretch at the minute where we're down, you know, 4 or 5 arguably key players that have played started a lot of games for us this season. We obviously have the goalkeeping situation as well. So yeah, the squad is being tested at this minute in time. So getting players like Ryan and Joe back, who are obviously very experienced, it will be a bonus. And the good thing for Ryan is for himself, because, you know, these games he was finding it difficult after these games in terms of, you know, he would either pick up, you know, a secondary injury, or he would feel a tightness or a stiffness that was then not allowing him to build up a rhythm, really. And I think what we've had now is a consistent sort of 3-4 week period where Ryan's trained basically every day when possible. Obviously the training week is truncated because of the number of games, and we've managed to get him obviously through two games. I mean, we Ryan will be part of the squad on Wednesday night, hence the reason why we took him off, because we just felt that the last 20 minutes of the game we didn't need him to play that. You know, what we want the squad as strong as possible. I think this season we'll always have players out, you know, and it's quite difficult. You know, Harry Souttar just drops out at a moment's notice and, you know, misses 4 or 5 games for us because of the COVID situation. So having numbers will hopefully help us.
Thanks for that, Michael. Good luck tomorrow.
Thank you.
Thanks, George. Dave now, please.
Hi, Michael. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
You was talking about James Chester and Nathan Collins slotting in well against Sheffield Wednesday, and Harry being out and Ryan perhaps being on the way back. But one of the things that was telling was that, as you've said so well, how well James Chester and Collins slotted in. You know, this has been a problem with Stoke for a long time, having a defence. If Ryan Shawcross was injured, the whole team would go to pot over the last few years. But I think now you've got to agree that you've cracked the depth of for defence at Stoke City, haven't you?
Well, I think we do have, we have depth in terms of in those areas. I think, you know, James Chester's been a very positive signing for us. He definitely helped us last season when he came in. You only had to see that with the number of points that we took when he was in the side. And, you know, I think he gives a calmness in the back four as well, or back three, whatever we play. And I think certainly, you know, Harry and Nathan in particular, as younger players playing at this level really for the first time, they certainly benefit from that. And Ryan would bring the same assurance. You know, we need that, of course. And you know, I think John Obi has given us a lot in that side of things as well, in terms of the assurance he gives us as a holding midfield player, makes us stronger defensively as well. So yeah, we've got depth there. You're always looking to improve as well. But overall, as I say, it's an area of the pitch that we're well covered in.